about that part. So on the agenda, we had the motion, we need to do the vote. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And then the minute.
And then same thing for meeting minutes. We had the motion, we had the second. Anyone, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and anyone opposed? Okay, thank you, Tina, sorry. Okay, now you guys can.
Hey guys, good to be here. So we just want to run through a couple things, building on last month's meeting, share where we're at with the draft corridor improvement plan, and really also want to kind of dive into some mapping, looking at some of these projects that we're identifying as important, and just identifying, just really brainstorming is really the purpose of that activity. So we'll go ahead and dive into discussing those projects that we talked about last month. And I want to thank everyone for going ahead and taking the survey. Really appreciate it. But like we shared, we really are looking to prioritize these and just kind of get a plan of attack, if you will, of what is most important for once we have the plan in hand, how do we start to allocate those resources? So with that, we have the survey results here, indicating low priority, medium priority, and high priority. And kind of in the left-hand column, I just kind of identified those based on what you all mentioned are most important. So with that, I would say constructing and maintaining sidewalks. Of course, that's a huge priority. We want pedestrians to be safe. We want to make a lot of businesses accessible to people walking throughout the corridor. And then other high priorities were, of course, snow removal, as well as looking at the acquiring and demolishing blighted properties throughout the corridor. So looking more like the Whitmark, future opportunities like that present themselves. And then going down the line, another priority was programming. So whether that's car shows, art fairs, events that draw people to the corridor and really attract people to hopefully come, spend some time, visit local businesses here on the corridor. And then burying power lines, like we talked about, that's kind of a lower priority just based on the feasibility of it. Maybe in strategic locations it makes more sense. And then two medium priorities were, like we talked about, the strategic development services, kind of the site due diligence in certain locations, as well as kind of the signage and banners that kind of provide the kind of sense of place that identifies Plainfield as a unique place. Then the last couple here were identified as pretty high priorities. Those being facade improvement grants, revolving loan fund, just grant programs supporting existing businesses as well as future businesses. Looking at landscaping improvements, as well as potentially looking at park space or a gathering space in the corridor, with the intent that would attract people here. Just provide a gathering space, kind of that third place that's so important for attracting business and then people spending time together. So those were the priorities here. Those are just kind of ranked. And then another question was, okay, we have this pool of things we want to do. Which are the most important to you all? So the result of that survey question was, it wasn't really surprising, but it's like constructing and maintaining sidewalks is most important, as well as the facade improvement grants. And then of course, landscaping improvements and maintenance. The park and central gathering space was also identified as a priority, and then the unique signage and banners. So with that said, this is just a summary slide of what I just shared, breaking it out between high priority projects, medium priority projects, and then low priority projects. So all the text that's in bold, it might be kind of hard to see here, but all the text in bold were those projects that were identified as priorities in the group. And then I know last month we were kind of wordsmithing a little bit, and we just decided to put it up for a vote. We wanted to discuss the vision statement and identify one that we could really kind of rally around. And you'll see here in the results that we had a two-way tie. And with that, I think we went ahead and made a recommendation. We think vision statement number 2 here really encompasses the spirit of what the Plainfield Corridor Improvement Authority seeks to do. I think it's just more all-encompassing and comprehensive. So we're suggesting in the plan that we just go ahead and use that one.
I agree. It ties back to our main points that you just showed on the first slide.
Sweet.
Any, can you go back to that last one?
Yeah, sure.
Any surprises or anything that comes up when we're looking through kind of the priority projects, or anything that stuck out to anybody? Or did it feel like kind of in line with what we had talked about?
I think it is in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad we could narrow it down to some themes, so.
Yeah.
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 Yep. No, that's good.
And that's kind of the struggle, right? We cast such a wide net. It's like, well, we want to do all these things, but what do we think is most important?
And I know that we have talked about housing and supporting housing development, how that was actually listed as a lower priority. But I think what we would recommend is probably just folding it into the work that you guys will be doing about like acquisition or like development services. So even though you might not necessarily be helping build housing specifically, I think that is the goal of the township is to have housing along the corridor as part of the master plan and zoning ordinance. So I think maybe just having that as part of one of the other priority projects just to allow that flexibility for you guys to support that would be good.
All right. So yeah, that was just a summary of the latest survey results and all those projects, how they'll be identified in the plan, as well as just the vision statement that we coalesced around. With that, yeah, Eric, do you want to discuss?
I'll talk through this really quick, and then we'll undo these two, because we wanted to do some mapping and probably break you guys into 2 groups, talk through this, but, so next month, the CAA board will be voting on the development and TIF plan, basically saying, hey, township board, we're good with this, and we're gonna take it up to the board to go through kind of the approval process. So the board first signs a resolution, like basically starting the corridor improvement authority. We worked and deliberated to create our plan, which is all the work that you guys have been doing over the past couple of months. So there's nothing new in the plan, it's really just following the statute and making sure it's all lined up that way. So just so you guys know, we'll be finalizing this plan and getting it out to you guys to have a look before the November meeting, but the goal is to have the plan approved in November and then sent up to the township board for their process. Just to give you an idea of what's gonna be in the plan, it's a lot of what we've talked about. So understanding what the goals of the CIA are, how that ties into the township zoning and master plan, the reimagined Plainfield plan, and just kind of the fact that the CIA is really the implementation arm of what the township has already like engaged the community on and planned for. It's just gonna have a legal description, it will have kind of a lay of the land of existing conditions, what's going on here. The development plan is gonna be all the projects that you've identified, right? So there'll be a table in there with, here's the projects, here's how we're prioritizing them, here's the estimated cost over the next 20-30 years, and that'll be that side. And then the financing TIF plan basically talks a little bit more about the project costs and activities, but it also shows, it's just a projection on like, here's where our taxable value is right now, here's where we're gonna start to capture taxes to make these improvements, and then here's where we're looking projected over the next 20-30 years of how much capture the CIA will have, okay? So that's really what's gonna be in the plan. You wanna go to the next slide? Yeah.
I have a question, just real quick. What is CIA?
We actually don't do questions during this portion of the meeting.
Yeah, so the Corridor Improvement Authority, this is the timeline for adoption. So once we submit the draft CIA plan to the township board, they'll go through their process as defined by the act, the state law that shows like where they need to post notices that they're getting it approved. And then in February, the township would adopt the plan. So that's kind of the process. Are there any questions right now on what goes into the plan, process for adoption?
Does it have to go through the state after the public hearing and township adoption and stuff, or?
It doesn't need to be approved by the state. The state's involved with the capture, because and just like reporting, there's reporting requirements and that sort of thing, but no state approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are these taxes,
Hold on, this is not a question and answer, if you have questions, hold on. This is not a question and answer meeting.
Question.
This is
Did
not
I
a
miss
question.
the answer here?
I'm sorry, sir, he is asking the
Sorry,
board
he asked me a question.
if they have questions. If you're gonna disrupt, we'll have you removed from the
I'm
meeting.
not disrupting.
You are disrupting, please be quiet. This is a meeting of the board. If you have questions, we're happy to stick around after the meeting and answer your
Oh, I
questions.
see. I thought he meant general questions.
No, I'm sorry, sir.
My apologies for that.
For this
I'll
group.
work for the board.
All right, thank you.
I'm done now.
Alright, so part of this is, so as we're working through the adoption process of the plan, we kinda wanna just get, start to brainstorm of, alright, we have these projects identified, let's start thinking about the where of where these belong in the corridor, so it's hopefully a little more fun, that we can finally put maps to it and start to think through these projects. So with that, we were thinking of breaking into two groups.
Yeah, I mean, I can bring these over if you guys wanna work in our little group together.
I'll bring them over here too. Yeah, it might work. You might need to, maybe David, you can be the sticky person. And I have a designated sticky person over here. Alright, I'm just gonna share some of these little guys. So if you guys, maybe you need to circle around or head in, but I think what we wanna do really is just you know, we've talked through kind of the prioritization. And then we wanna just try to get a sense of where the stickies might go or where Yeah. So yeah, feel free to draw if there's things that we should be identifying in the plan. You can use stickies based on the different, you know, categories that we're looking at, or sticky notes to write down the comment. And then when it seems like we're kind of wrapped up, we can reconvene and talk through. Here, if you wanna, I'll do it. Well, it's upside down. On this side. I don't know if I would do
I just was very disappointed in the lack of communication release of the plan, like more than just this is what we're doing, but like sort of trying to preserve in some measurable way. So we can say if they can preserve if they're gonna say say stuff like that. That's subjective. Like I haven't talked to anybody that thinks it's a little bit it's not it's what are their goals. And that's what's gonna happen. And how are we gonna measure it? Just say you want to subtract. Do you have data from for us, we cannot do the things the biggest thing is maybe it's a good thing. It's a personal thing. I've been looking at I really cared. I just voted. I trusted them. I thought that they were really smart. You know this stuff. This is their world. They do all they do stuff. And this project was based on shooting guys. And it's really like almost like you can't just for that. It was like a bunch of conflicts around this. I had no good explanation for how traffic's supposed to get to these businesses. Never one, because they're all using that road, that neighborhood, that shop, and they're all using, they're turning around and parking lots and stuff. Was that their plan? Yeah, I see it on 10 absolutely. What are those ones happening? I actually love it if they change my impressions. Like help me see this impact. Help me have main confidence in the township that you guys did.
No, yeah. Where they just got
Oh yeah.
they did it.
So I think they
Folks, hey, folks, you be quiet in the room, please, so they can do their work. Please quiet down.
I don't know. I just know like someone put a gym up in but the only good one is you have two I've heard, and I don't know if they're accurate or not, but you know, if you have another idea about this should be which that's probably true, but that's not a good explanation for that. You could say it's a good explanation for well, you should have. You should have. One size fits all.
Talk about something that includes us. You'll have your time after the meeting. Thank you so much.
I'll look at it. I don't think we are someone on the board
It's not even otherwise. Whenever you just hear it, it's more informative. Yeah, I agree. And then it's all open in front of them. Oh, yeah. It's bad. Yeah, they haven't thought that out. That's good. That's good. I just saw that today. I thought I pulled out to turn left. And it was fine. There was no traffic. And there was a huge line back. That's bad alignment. Because you got a huge line. The car's probably waiting 3-4 lights to get through in a big open road. So they don't have. What is this taking? a metric, I'm fine. I am giving them, tell us what you're trying, what your goal is, and tell us how that's a measure. Like, I like this, like, you made it more beautiful. What do we go about 10 people in their apartment? Because I don't think you're gonna get it, honestly. Find 10 people randomly that live and work in the area and ask them if you made it more beautiful. Because if you look at it, just look down there, are they going to? Yeah, I get that. That would be a very expensive thing. What are we talking about? Is it more than is that right, that's what I see. I suggest they asked I remember getting last ideas, and I put it in there. I set a bike path on Coy, all the way down Coy, and I set power lines on Lincoln. I think it'd be amazing to have a bike path down there. Because I'd rather ride up Coy. I feel like my life's in danger at all times. I do it, but I try to do it like 5 in the morning with blinking light and stuff, so it's what it is. But I just don't nice bike path on the other side of the road. No one ever said anything to anyone. Maybe they took it and they worked it out, but they just don't say it. Yeah. I like the white country you can walk on it. You take your dogs on it. You're responsible. I like things on the trail. That's my friend. I didn't know she was be on this plan or something. I think that's a community plan. I don't think she's on the board. She owns that honeysuckle right on the creek. It used to be Bradley's barn, now it's a she lives upstairs in the apartment upstairs. She's I wonder what her take is. I never knew I would have gone talk to her. Oh yeah. I do, yes.
How did this meeting get drafted down?
One bad, that's a tomato shop, that's partially black. It's just a tomato But my one friend had to stop. Tell me your secret sauce. Eat well. But you don't stop. You don't stop. Right. I need to do more though. I get a little too locked into work and whatever. I gotta do sales. I don't like to sit around. Find a way to do this. I have a desk that you stand at, which helps a little bit. So I can sit too much. And I bought a tall stool to sit at. Yeah, you.
I guess, so the purple part, purple, that's what. That is the word. Okay, yep. Those are the boundaries. Yeah, I only have one section. I got section of the whole thing, so then I got so that's what I was there, and the dead man was, he could raise it up 5 pounds. I don't want, I don't know, that is my section.
Yeah, I heard that. Sad story.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's doing it.
I hate to observe it. Tracy was the one that was there.
That's all they play. Yeah. All right, can we report on some of the things that we kind of came up with in discussions to hear what people were thinking, where priority areas were?
Do you want to start like in the different topic areas
Sure.
or just kind of
Yeah,
rapid
let's-
fire?
No, let's start that. That's a good idea. So on the sidewalks and trails, what came up?
I think our group talked a bit about trying to connect the trail in with more sidewalk in the corridor, like connecting the corridor to White Pine a little bit better. Did you cover anything else sidewalks wise?
Not sidewalks, but having more areas like a green space where a biker, cyclist, or whatever, a group of kids from the library can hang out, have an area green space, like
A hub or a spoke or
yeah,
something.
like something like that. It's not necessarily sidewalks, but somehow connecting to that sort of thing somewhere along the area.
Yeah.
Like a hangout space, like community, it's kind of goes in with the community space.
Yeah. Were there specific areas that you feel like are just not well connected for people walking and biking?
We very similarly, we had a very similar focus to your group. A lot of the streets on the other side of Plainfield, not on this side with Lowe's, on the other side, there's a lot of residential streets without sidewalks feeding into Plainfield to safely get to the other side, to have access to the trail, to the businesses, to safely access those spaces.
So specifically looking from like East Oakview.
And west, yeah, we call that one out.
How about building improvements, facade grants, that sort of thing? Were there any parts of the corridor that stood out more than others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could say yeah.
Yeah, I think our group focused for that topic a little bit more on like the southern half and like middle to southern half of the whole corridor. The more northern half feels a little newer, more modern, just from when it was developed, and so there being more need more in the middle and southern sides.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, landscaping, creating or improving landscaping. Were there any areas that came to mind for those?
The trail.
something in there besides just open next to the road. Some trees or something there, maybe
Separated.
6 foot, yes, to give you a little more privacy as you're walking through there, rather than just open and there's the road and cars going down.
Flying by, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like Jupiter came up quite a bit, like in terms of ways that, you know, it feels like people use it a lot for biking and walking, but it could feel more comfortable and safe, yeah.
There is some flat property in that walk on the right side, if you're coming down and
Yeah.
heading towards Quebec, where you could almost have a little park, because it's flat. It doesn't take a lot to set up
Yeah,
that, but the problem will be it's made for those who walk and ride, not cars being able to turn into it. But there is some nice spots in there.
yeah. Other spots on landscaping improvements? Or just general
I
thoughts?
would, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, our group, we also just found there's areas, for instance, the property we're on now, that just has a lot of parking lot running through, so we put some yellow stickers in those areas, just to try to beautify it a little bit more, make it feel a little less industrial, and, as much as we're focusing more on the southern part, the northern part is more industrial in the nature of businesses down there, so thought there could be some opportunity for greenery down that way as well.
Yeah, that's great.
We talked about somewhere in like the middle, sort of north of 5 Mile and then into like Plainfield Service Drive. Because with just the offset of the service drive from Plainfield itself, there being some opportunity kind of in that area. And then where, how far, I don't know how north that is, but north of here, where Plainfield does kind of like separate, and then come back together, there just being a pretty long stretch there that could, use some improvement.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really, a lot of these, well, let's go to the green one first too, before I talk more, but, any areas, no, probably don't have specific sites in mind, but are we gravitating toward any sections of the corridor that you'd wanna see more like a public space, a public gathering space? Just still kind of to be determined.
I was gonna say to be
TBD.
determined, but, you know, things that we marked that maybe future state 10, 20 years down the road, where the Whitmark was.
Yeah.
So it's right off of Jupiter, right off trails, ample space.
Yeah.
If you were thinking that would be like a good park or central gathering space, or, perhaps behind the church here.
Yeah. Cool.
We talked about those ones too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same idea?
I mean, it's nice too where the library is in comparison to the church location, like you maybe could connect with the library a little bit more and have some connected events or stuff for kids, that kind of thing, can be more accessible.
Yep.
If there's something closer there, but obviously Whitmark would be a nice location to utilize as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could make a camping ground down there in Ravine, cause I do see people down there every once in a while.
We also talked about the sort of empty-ish area by the speedway down here. But I don't know, I feel like our group struggled a little bit with but is it feasible, you know? The parking would be a struggle down there, just other things would make that probably a more difficult place to put something, or at least anything of any like size or scale, you
Right.
know? So that, we did talk about it, but there's limitations there, and then even in like where the purple kind of gets a little bit thin, you know, 2/3 of the way up, we talked about that, but recognize that there's like hills and ravines, and that's just like a strange place to try to do anything with, but we talked quite a bit about wanting to maybe try to get those two areas more connected in the
Yeah.
middle,
That's great.
so.
Hey Cameron, are we getting any more interest out of the Whitmark or the old Grace property yet?
There's interest on both. Whitmark's had a ton of interest over the years. The problem is always the owner thinks he's sitting on Manhattan property values. So that's always been the holdup there. I think there's other interest on the corner lot of Jupiter and Plainfield that's probably more feasible, but you know, we'll see. We haven't received any
Any kind of plans at this point?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
guys can help with, if there's a little bit more information around within the purple area where there is enough space for parking, a little bit more accessible, not too much friction with the residential spaces, because we want to be mindful of that as well. It's hard looking at this grid knowing exactly what we're up against as far as space.
No, I think this is a great start, and just to kind of recap what the work that we've done, I feel like this is one of the places across the state are really struggling with this type of corridor, which is, it was built in the 40s and 50s, and nobody thought about anything else except cars, right? And it's showing its age, and we're getting into a new era, and I think the big thing that I've heard from you all is really, it's all kind of starting with safety in a lot of ways, so like making it safer for people to walk around and bike around and even drive around in the corridor. And I think with a lot of these placemaking ideas and ways to like kind of get more investment, we're aspiring for the corridor to be something where it's like maybe you don't necessarily walk to it, but if you drive there, maybe it's okay to just drive and park once, and then it feels okay to walk around a little bit in certain locations and visit the park, visit the Lowe's, go to the grocery store while you're here. So I think, I just applaud all of you guys for thinking through this together and volunteering your time to be part of this board, and it's going to be exciting. This is really kind of just the start of the next step.
I got a question for you. I was in that building a long time, and the Kent County boys just pile up the snow on the sidewalk. There is a little grassiness before you get to the road. Will they allow any kind of shrubbery to kill some of that snow from piling over the sidewalk and making it nothing but a slippery little thing in the wintertime? Or are they basically gonna tell us under no way?
What spot? Where is that?
As you're walking what used to be the Graves building right across from Speedway,
Okay.
it's open. In wintertime, those boys just shove that snow right up on those sidewalks. But there is a grassy part before you get to the road. And I was thinking always that if they put some shrubs in, it would stop some of that snow from covering the sidewalk. Because once it's covered and the ice is over it, good luck trying to get walk through.
Right.
And that's the problem with old Plainfield in more than one location.
Yeah.
And so, if the Kent County boys say, no, it's not worth investing.
I mean, it's definitely something we could talk to them about. Yeah.
Part of our improvement strategy.
Who does it? East Grand Rapids, don't they?
Downtown
Or Holland.
Downtown Holland, or just snow removal.
Yeah.
Might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Does the snow removal happen this season, for the township?
I'll check with our staff, see where we're at with that one.
All right, so what we'll do is incorporate your feedback and just kind of have some general concepts just ideas in the draft plan, in terms of priority lists and what you're showing will pop up on those projects. But other than that, we wanted just to get you kind of thinking through where some of these next steps will go, because once the board approves the capture, then you'll be able to start thinking about how to invest that in the township, in the corridor. But other than that, I think that's the end of our agenda items, so.
Were you, the plan for next time you were gonna have to us, like a draft before that meeting, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so as soon as we get the updated, taxable value for 2025, because that got updated this summer, so I reached out to staff. We'll just update those numbers and then I'll be ready to, but I don't think there'll be an issue with getting it for the November meeting.
Any board members with questions about it?
That was a fun exercise.
Good.
Great. Okay, alright, so next on the agenda is public comment period, so this will be the time where the public can come up and make comments. I know we've got a bit of a crowd, and so just as a general rule with public comments, this is a time for you to comment. This typically is not a question and answer period, but if you do have questions that require answers, you can stick around after the meeting, and either staff or someone else can perhaps help with those questions. So We'll also ask folks to keep their comments to a reasonable time frame. What do we do at the board meetings?
3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay, so, yeah, just to make sure that everyone has a chance to share if they want to, we're gonna ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. So, we'll do like a hands up and I'll call someone and the room is small enough, so I think we'll just have folks maybe stand at their chairs, and try to project so everyone can hear you. So is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment? I saw this hand over here first.
My road was blocked, those curbs in the middle. I live off of Ivy, so now when I bring my daughter to school, I turn right off of Hunsberger. I have no way to get back to my home on Ivy, because that curb, there's no Michigan turnaround to come back. So the only option is to turn left into a business and go through all of those lots and out at Bella.
I also forgot to mention, do we need to ask name for public comments? Okay.
Sure.
So, sorry, can we get your name as well? Sorry.
Elizabeth Brown.
Okay, Elizabeth Brown. Thank you, Elizabeth. Is there anyone else? Here's this one.
All right, my name's Jason Burris. I'm with American Gas and Oil. We have the Citgo, AGO Citgo on Woodworth in Plainfield. So as long as we've been there, it's been, you know, that intersection's a little tough because of the angle of the road. And now that you guys put the solid median from Hunsberger to Woodworth, you basically put us and some other property owners on a one-way street. So with that being said, now everybody's traveling through our parking lots. I never even knew there was a Plainfield Avenue Authority panel put together, so I appreciate you guys volunteering your time and trying to do something on this. But my original knowledge of this was back in '23 by some consultant for Progressive, and they sent me an email showing that, hey, they want to do these islands, and there was nothing shown in front of our business, and there was some cut-throughs, what would be to the east. Well, that was the last I heard of it, and then next thing you know, I'm out there, I'm driving down Plainfield, I see the construction, a couple weeks later, I see curbs, a solid curb from both intersections. So at that point, when I call and say something, you know, it's too little too late. So I just thought that, you know, in the emails, if something was gonna be said, they should have said something. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty disappointing, and obviously the news has been a big part of it. That's the only part I've heard about it. And out of all the road construction projects around in the area, and there's a lot of them going on, this is probably the worst received project so far. I know you guys are already trying to move on to the next latest, greatest thing, but maybe you guys gotta back up and take a look at, you know, readjusting it. I know it's new, but you guys have caused a serious safety concern of people going through our parking lots. Now there's some back streets that I didn't even, for the 30, 40 years that I've been around here, I didn't even know those until now. I use them because it's my way to get back east on Woodward. So I think you guys have caused some more problems. You guys, or I'm not sure if it's you guys or Plainfield Township or whoever, or engineering or whatever. I'm not trying to point the finger, but there's bigger problems now. So, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? We got in the back there.
Hi, Brent Fields, the lawn ranger for Plainfield. We've been in business for 40 years. And about 30. I don't know if it's true, but heard that the plant they did, they were trying to put out there heat tolerant and salt tolerant. Unfortunately, I know we're all trying to make our place look nicer for everybody to live here, but pretty sure I want to be wrong. But with the county with the salt, stuff's all going to be dead in the spring. I hope I'm wrong. So there's that. To put on your radar, you guys talked about, I mentioned it to your corridor sign when we entered had weed trees growing in it. So we had this grandy idea to put this beautiful, you're entering Plainfield corridor. Nobody's ever maintained it. Nobody ever put bark back. There's a weed tree that's 2 feet off the curb that's now a tree. It just randomly grew wild. Walgreens doesn't take a very good job on taking care of their property, and your structure's on it. It just doesn't look right. And that's where we start, and it goes from there. Sidewalks, I don't know if we're gonna be pushing clearing them this year. I think it's in the ordinance to do it if you guys want to push it, but I do need to know for my own commercial customers, say, hey, they're gonna push this year. Because I think it came in about 5 years ago, but it hasn't been enforced, I think. So, yeah, there's definitely issues. I don't know how we're supposed to, Anna's house, if you're the owner of that, which their sales are down like 50%, and why don't we open that corridor so they can go to the bank and pull out that light? We've made it a nightmare for that business. And I don't know about you guys, I live in Comstock Park now. If I need to go to Discount Tire, I go to Coit. So Coit has gotten way busier. All the other streets have gotten busier, and people are avoiding Plainfield. And they're avoiding businesses, they're just skipping. Thank you for your time.
Are you in the black sweatshirt yet?
Yeah, Deborah Day.
Black sweatshirt.
Okay, close enough, close enough. Deborah Day, I live off of 5 Mile, and first off, I want to thank you all for volunteering to be on this, to help beautify Plainfield. Not everyone wants to volunteer, so it takes a lot to stand up and do that. One concern about the medians is none of us know how to turn left anymore. I expected when it went in that I would see Michigan left-hand turns. I don't know how to do that now with what's there. So I think what a lot of us are asking for is just tell us how to drive that Plainfield corridor now, so that we can do it legally and not cut through all of the parking lots that I'm scared I'm gonna get a ticket for someday, right? But now it's the only way I can get through. So, comment on the medians. I do have a couple of questions about some of the things that you guys are talking about. I heard you talk a little bit about taxes, right, where the money's gonna be coming from. Understanding you're trying to bring in things to generate more taxable profits for the Plainfield corridor. But where's the initial investment coming from? Is that money that's coming from the board? I know you're not gonna answer questions, but that's a concern that I have. And then I saw in the previous minutes that the survey that was sent out only had 4 folks respond to it. And just concerned that that's not a statistically significant amount of the population. If you send me a survey, I'll answer it, right? So maybe to go back and get some more input from the community would just be a good way to go as you're thinking about things to do for us as members of the Plainfield community.
You have a black sweatshirt?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jenny, and she answered a lot of my things already. I was going to ask repetitively, so I don't want to do that. But I've noticed your plan when you did this in 2024. Did you guys consider the new road that was just put into place? I know you're not going to answer questions, but I was just wondering if you put in the new road, are you going to have to kind of redesign that? Because I know that you're stating like parks and you want everybody to park in like a location and like walk, but the problem is I can't get to half of those places already, which I'm concerned now you're gonna saturate a location where people actually can't even get in and out of at a certain point. And my other concern is I tried to get to my friend's house the other day and I couldn't, like that lady was saying, the road is completely blocked off to turn left, and then I kept driving. And I almost had to go to 5 Mile to get into that area. And then I started to think to myself, like, what if there was an emergency, okay? And if there was a fire truck, like, if somebody right now called 911 and their house is on fire and that big, heavy, big rig fire truck, literally, like, I would love to see how that is honestly going to turn down any of those, because there is no left turn, like, at all. And it's sad, like, you want to build up this new corridor, which is awesome for, revenue for the township, but those people that have been here for 40, 50, 25 years, they're now losing their businesses because they can't even have their customers get to them. So how is that fair to wanna build up something when the other places that are here are now just deteriorating? And it's almost like you want that to happen so you can build that and make that look fancy while the rest of them have to shut their doors. And so that's my comment
Demon's Coins, and I own the building next to it, the Subway. I sit there and I first time, I've been on this road for 26 years, seen a fire truck just sit there, it can't get through, and the sirens are blaring. I can't see how that corridor that they blocked that road, my left-hand turn lane, got approved by the fire department. It just sat there until the light turned green and could go through. E-bikes, they're not going away, they're gonna get bigger. E-bikes are either going on the road or on the sidewalk, flying through, and it's very dangerous. Cars can't move over. People are left-hand turning into Subway, tearing up my driveway continuously, trying to do a U-turn. They're making my driveway a Michigan turnaround. Just constantly, I see them all day long. Turn, just tearing up my driveway, my parking lot. Very dangerous. When they came by to survey me, 23 I think it was, and I said this is a stupid idea. Subway says it's a stupid idea. I don't know who likes this. Who has a business on Plainfield that would approve of this? The blocking of my left-hand turn lane. My account says I'm gonna lose 33% of my revenue. What am I gonna do? You know? The coin store across town is gonna be selling his business. I'm thinking about buying it and moving and selling. I did a bad investment. It's very frustrating, and all my customers are very frustrated. I hear nothing positive. I go to the market, they complain. I go to the bank, they laugh because the police are making their quotas on bad turns, and I don't know what to do about this. It's very frustrating. I tell people, I say, shut up, I don't hear about it anymore. It's here. I don't know what you guys can do about it. It's a bad situation to block the left-hand turn lane like that. You're affecting all the businesses, all this money. If you want a new quote, what they call Plainfield Township now is avoid Plainfield. That's what everybody tells me. Avoid Plainfield. And I've said, please don't avoid Plainfield. Please don't. I tell a customer, I haven't seen you in a long time. He says, I don't come down Plainfield anymore. I said, oh, please don't say that. Please come down Plainfield. It's very frustrating. I don't know who approved this, how it got approved. I don't know what business would approve of this. But anyways, I'm closed, so I gotta leave. But God bless you guys. Thank you.
Joe Camps, I own Professional Overhead Door on the end of the plaza. It used to be behind Mickey Shore, now it's Glass Effects. Maybe a little history. So I first heard about this during COVID. When we reimagined Plainfield, all the Plainfield business owners were invited to join in a Zoom call. And I think this is important. It goes to my point that we listened. And I think I felt positive. Like, yeah, they talked about the median, they talked about mixed-use buildings, they talked about traffic calming, all good. There was, however, a number of business leaders, probably more savvy than myself, who were a little negative, and it was overall negative, the feedback. So whoever was in charge of the Zoom call said, all right, we'll go back to the drawing board, we'll get back to you. Never heard another thing until they started construction. Now, I'm not saying that that's their fault. Maybe I missed something. Cameron, you brought up the first thing. You invite us to get good information. I got my information from Channel 17 and from Channel 13 that there was going to be a meeting, and the news, it was about the median, including the whole thing. So please, let's talk about something positive. How can we communicate better? Maybe have an invite on the Northview informed page. That would be a good start. But this whole project has given me a a real concern as far as confidence in this board's ability to plan anything. Now, I look, I know leadership is not easy. Everybody would be doing it. It's very difficult. I get that, and I'm not, look, I'm not pointing fingers. I want this to be positive. But when you designed it, I know MDOT, they had the overall plan, but what I heard at the original Zoom call, Progressive AE came up with a plan for Ada, to reimagine Ada. And Ada liked it, or great for Ada. So Progressive said, hey, let's sell it to Plainfield Township. So Plainfield Township was sold, and they repackaged it, and boom, here we are. We are not Ada. And that, I think, is part of the problem. It was never really intended for us. We don't have their resources. Our businesses are just hanging on by a thread. And the fact is, the only way we can get to Glass Effects, our professional overhead door, is through two entry points, one off of Jupiter and one off of Miramar. If you're coming from the direction of the highway, which is 90% of our business, it doesn't come from the other direction. So they have to now drive through a parking lot where there's pedestrians. How is that safer? I don't understand. The plan for traffic calming, if you look at the plan, it's the intended, you have points of entry into a parking lot, you narrow it down to one, and then they spread out from there. That's a great idea. But that's not our situation. We're driving all the way from one to the other side. Jupiter entry point is never maintained in the winter. It isn't plowed. The mail truck gets stuck in there. I've had to push him out because it's not plowed. There's big, huge potholes that are occasionally filled in, but it is a mess. I believe that you have, I'm not saying that there wasn't a problem, but I think your solution, your cure is worse than the disease. And I'm very concerned going forward with anything else you have, because shouldn't you have had some kind of scenarios when you were designing it? Well, if somebody's coming this way and they want to go to Ballavino's, how are they going to get there? How are they going to, we have to go through a bank's parking lot to get to Ballavino's.
We're running a little short.
Okay, all right, so let me say one other thing. And that is, you mentioned, Cameron, that the Whitmark property owners are being unreasonable. I don't think that that's true. I called, they are a little unreasonable. They're asking for $3 million. But I talked to the real estate agent because I wanted to improve, I want to grow. And he said, yeah, he thinks he would come down to 1.5, which is maybe still a little expensive. But he said the main problem, this is from the real estate agent, said the township has insisted on a certain mixed use. There has to be apartments, and you can't have a truck well for industrial use. That to me is a problem. We are not Ada. That's all I want to say. Please give us the confidence, communicate, and don't be like, this is the way it is, folks, suck it up. That isn't helpful.
Is there anyone else?
My name is Jack Kuntz. I appreciate the idea of making this, someplace like Brushwood Park and walkable. I think the reality, though, if you've ever had dinner at Cheers, it's noisy. It's not pretty. You have to shout to hear each other. I don't know how. I'm not going to go any place and sit along Plainfield Avenue at a bench. And I think before you start spending more of our money, I think we need to reconsider. Plainfield is a thoroughfare. Either I'm going someplace all the way through or going to a business, period. I don't think you're going to have many people that are hanging out there, but I could be wrong. Thank you.
Next to you, yep.
Name's Kirk. I own the business that's Claim on the building, right between the bagel shop and the barber shop there with a little thoroughfare there. And my comment is mostly just related to, it's very similar to the gentleman who just went 2 people ago, just about communication. I'm not worried as much about my business because we don't have customers that come to our business. We just work and make things in there. But I have friends that own businesses nearby, so I appreciate what's happening to their businesses right now. So I think that is a concern. The comment I just want to make is that I think you need to communicate plans, and I might have to own some of this. I can't honestly say that I have pursued, since this happened, information, but it hasn't come to me, and I'm just watching things happen. Some of the things have been described, people turning around in parking lots, using roads like 10 times more behind our shop, these neighborhoods where, you know, there's just homes on them. It's just way more traffic and coming up through that alley, and I think the predominant thing I'm hearing from people is that they don't know what else to do. They're just getting where they need to go, and they're going through banks, so they're going through whatever. And so my thought would be that whoever planned this should communicate, like, this is what I kind of have, like, right now I'm still giving you the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe there's a plan, I just don't know it, and we don't all know it. So if that's true, if you're going northbound and you want to go to the bagel shop, this is what you should do. Please get that up, because people need to know. They don't know, and that's why they're going through other businesses or neighborhoods or trying to turn around. A lot of people are trying to turn around at Jupiter and they can't because there's not enough room, so then they stop and then back up in traffic. I can't believe that would be the plan, that your intended plan was. So if there's a plan that people are supposed to be following instead of all these things that are happening, please release that. Please get that out better. I'm looking for it. We're all looking for it. Nobody really knows. That would be my first thing. And then the pessimistic side of me just goes like, if there wasn't that plan, if you guys you didn't foresee some of these things happening, then I struggle with the same as he said, like my confidence in what you're doing. Like, I have never paid attention. I will own this all day. You can ask my wife. I've never paid attention to local government and how I should vote and what I should do, because I really haven't, to be honest. I'm 51. I haven't had to. Things have been generally fine. I've been good. We live right down Huntsburg. We live in Plainfield Township too. This whole thing, if there either wasn't a plan or you didn't foresee some of these things, rattles my confidence and is making me like, I need to pay attention to this now. Like, I assumed, here's a good one for you, and I want to sit down. I assumed that the people that plan these things know way more than me and are way smarter than me and figure this stuff the way I assumed that. But this whole thing has made me doubt that assumption. Like, I look at this and I go, if they don't tell us soon what the idea was here, and it makes sense with some metrics, like, oh, we're trying to make it more beautiful. Well, that's a very subjective thing. How do you measure that? You ask 10 people, I'm not sure you're gonna find 10 random people that are around there that think it's more beautiful, but maybe that's it. Maybe it's to be safer. Okay, what are the metrics? What was the incidence before? And now how do you prove that you reached your goal? You gotta have measurables that go, we did what we were trying to do. And then we'll all shut up. We'll go, okay, well, this is their goal, they set it, and they reached it. But without all that, I'm like going, man, what are you guys doing? And now I have to pay attention. And I didn't for 51 years, or whatever, pay attention to who my elected local officials were, because I trusted them. And now I'm rattled on that. So, there you go, sorry.
My name is Chris, and I had a very nice conversation with Jen earlier. We're all complaining to the wrong people. And I'm hoping that our comments get sent to the right people. Thank you for your time.
Who are the right people?
Yeah.
Who are the right people?
Can we ask the board that? Who are the right people? What board are we supposed to be sitting at today, or whenever?
At this point, the medians are built, right? They're
Yes.
the property of MDOT. So changes aren't going to happen, let's be realistic.
That's true, but who do we complain to?
So this was a process that the township board went through over the last 6 years. A number of people have
Yes.
made
Yes.
mention of that, including over a dozen public comment sessions, where people can come around and actually look exactly what you're talking about. Look at the board, see if this is gonna make sense. Every business was contacted to ask, is this gonna work for you? If they didn't respond, they didn't respond.
That's not true. That's not true.
So,
That's absolutely not true.
so the decision was made a year ago to go ahead with it and give MDOT the approval to build it.
And what they said they were gonna do, they didn't do. There's no pedestrian refuge in the medians. How are the pedestrians gonna get across? They said they were gonna put pedestrian refuges in the medians. They're not there.
So who do we complain to?
Sorry.
Is our question. Can you answer that?
We can talk afterward. I'm not sure complaining to any board is gonna do you any good at this point.
We're screwed.
They were initially contacted, but then they were dropped like a bad habit.
You know, why I didn't understand the meetings at all. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe there's something. So I went back and I was reading the minutes and the plans, and it did say they're gonna make a long meeting. But what they did say is gonna hurt the small businesses because you can't turn left. Now, they could have been transparent about that. And you say you can't go back and fix it? Yes, you can. You can admit you made a mistake and help our community by removing some of that need. Get the businesses going again. We need the businesses here. We need people to thrive. And you wanna make other things beautiful? We can't even maintain our parking lot with all the weeds and overgrowth. How's that beautiful? Nobody's doing anything to put pressure on this guy, even though the minutes did say you're gonna get your lawyers to put pressure on him to do something. Looks like crap. We can do better. When you know better, do better. We can fix this.
I agree.
What I'd like to say to all of you, you should get the free download of every planning commission and every township commission, because not only do they list what's going on, they give you the pictures, the drawings, everything else, so you can go ahead of time instead of coming now and saying, what did you do to us? And I get it, maybe you don't want to, I
No,
don't care,
that's-
but that's what
If
I
you had
believe.
proposed it to us, we probably would have said yes, because we would have assumed that you guys had done your homework. We're not the experts. We have to rely on the experts to do the dry runs, to figure things out. If we had been here, that's not a trump card. You can't use that against us. We are the people that are saying, yeah, that's a generally good idea. Slow down the traffic, absolutely. Make it prettier, yes. Help the businesses, yes. But then to then somehow act as though we didn't. Oh, well, you can't turn. We're not the experts. We would have said yes.
You just take it on. You'll get it long before it happens. Isn't that what you wanna know, long before it happens, instead of after the fact? And you can do as you want.
How is that gonna help?
I'm just giving you that.
There's a delay
point.
of ignorance.
No, there's a
We
delay.
rely
between
on you
projects.
guys to do it right. That's the point.
Okay, real quick, we've got a couple of board members that have had to leave, because of timing, and do you guys need to leave too, or are you just trying to be on? So, I was gonna say, how many more public comments do we have? Just a couple.
Yeah. If I could speak to respond to something that's maybe more immediate from Progressive AE, can you explain how you would like them to do those turnarounds? What's the safest? I think that's the most immediate, or what the plan is.
Yeah, so I can chime in really quickly about what this board is, just a high level. So this board was started by the township about 3 months ago. So well after all the decisions that had gone into the median discussion. And the goal of the Corridor Improvement Authority, what happens actually, the tax question came up. So what happens is taxes from the county, from GRCC, and from the township that are already just paid, those get, they call it captured by the Corridor Improvement Authority rather than getting distributed. So there's no new taxes as part of this. It's just a tool that the state of Michigan has to help corridors like Plainfield, kind of reinvest. So that money that the businesses along the corridor are already paying, instead of going to Kent County and GRCC and the township, it goes to the Corridor Improvement Authority. So that's what we've been doing over the last couple of months with them, is planning for what do we do with these captured taxes over the next 30 years, and how do we help the corridor reinvest, get cleaned up, straighten up some of the vacant properties, that sort of thing, okay? On the median project specifically, that wasn't a project I wasn't involved in, but we're taking down, we got like 3 pages of notes right now. So to Cameron's point, the changes happened, and it's a weird situation because NDOT actually, the state actually maintains that road, but the township's impacted by what the state does, and there's a lot of weird kind of back and forth there. But the important thing is we're hearing, you know, I'm already starting to hear things that we could do to help with communication, you know, just moving forward. And I'm praying, because I live in Alger Heights, but I come up here to work on 4 Mile, and the construction's been driving me nuts, right? But I'm hoping that once all the orange barrels are done, and there's a little bit of time to just like understand what the heck's going on, things will start to make a little bit more sense. But in terms of, you know, how we turn and that sort of thing, we can definitely help put together like more communication on that. So I appreciate everybody's feedback. It's been helpful.
We have a public comment over here.
Yeah, so you mentioned, that there's not really anything you can do now, the medians are in. What if it's determined that it's less safe? What if there's more car accidents, more pedestrians hit? Is that still gonna be the case? Like, oh, it's already done, we're not gonna take them out now. Like, what if, cause you said beautification and safety, what if, obviously, safety should be, like, come before beautification, so what if it's determined that it's less safe? Is that still gonna be a situation of, oh, they're already in, we can't take them out now, there's nothing we can do? Cause, I don't know, that just comment threw me off a little bit, so.
I don't think I need to stand up. My name is Dave Stinson. I live over on Georgia Street off of Coit. There's been a lot of construction over in that area. Coit's been redone, but it was a precursor to making sure that traffic would be able to flow down Plainfield as this was all going on. The main concern I've got is the safety on Plainfield. A lot of things have gone on up there where they're supposed to be working 3rd shift, but then they come in on during the day. Just yesterday is a good example, and I don't want to talk about too far about Woodworth, but Woodworth, the farm and everything else that's there, once those houses start going in, we're talking, you're dealing with 35 years here, but what's gonna happen in another 20? If all those houses get built on that property that's wide open, we need to be able to work through Woodworth. 4 Mile is now 3 lanes, it used to be 4. 4 Mile is pretty clear going all the way down there, but that's between the city and Northview. So as it goes down to Coit, Coit's widened up, all the traffic's going down Coit. So my whole thing is here, the safety. Just yesterday, they're doing the manhole covers and leaving the covers off.
Yeah.
They're putting the concrete down. I got a younger sister who lives in Cortland, assisted living, right behind McDonald's and Fox. But when you do to the corridor in front of Fox, they've got it, entryways. You know, and I'm not going down there because I'm hearing this different stuff of what's going on across the street on the north side of Woodworth where I don't want a ticket. So I've been going down all the way down to by McDonald's 2 days ago, not even knowing about the manhole covers. There's one pylon there, so nobody would turn into the hole. The safety isn't something, and I'm talking about yesterday. The safety is what's next. And you guys have got the power, not me, I could do it, but where am I gonna go? You guys have the power to call Kent County, and whoever's working on that property going from all the way down from Fuller, all the way up, they need to clean up the safety issues. The signs aren't getting changed. My wife was turning into, by Bank of America a couple of weeks ago, probably about 6 or 7 now, and they cut the concrete out. There wasn't a sign saying it's only 1 lane. Yesterday, as I dropped my sister off and I'm coming back down towards Woodworth, they're cutting in there earlier in the morning, So I knew I better watch out what I was doing. Woman pulls up, she's in the second lane to turn left because that's traditionally what we were taught, right? But there's signs there, there's showing 2 lanes. She didn't know where to go, so after I passed, I looked in the rear mirror. She goes in the westbound lane to turn, maybe to go to Sitco, maybe go to Bagels, maybe up here to Lowe's. That safety stuff has got to be taken care of. You're hearing different rumors about people having accidents or hitting a pothole or whatever. That's something that the county or the state has got to address. If we don't have the power, maybe the guys on the camera that are filming me right now do, but we don't have the power to say, hey, there's a problem on Plainfield. Yeah, we heard this 14 times yesterday. So they just got to clean it up. But keep in mind that Woodworth's got to be the next big project. That thing's got to get widened up for the bikes, for the pedestrians and everything else, in the fact that sooner or later, it is probably going to be sooner than it's going to be later, that those houses are going to start getting built. I graduated from Northview in 1977. The property north of that school is all full of houses now. Woodworth's going to continue. It's just the way it's going to be. Thank you.
I know this is a sore subject with a lot of people, but the Whitmark building and the property, I live behind that, and we have our neighbors. And when the it was an eyesore, but it was it kept the sound from Plainfield, and, you know, it was a soundproof thing. And when they tore the building down, now alls we hear is Tommy's Car Wash, the lights from Plainfield. It is just noisy. We moved there because of we had sound, you know, it was just a store. It was Whitmark's. So we weren't worried about any type of, it was just a nice store. We weren't worried about, they talked about putting in apartments there. I don't want apartment buildings with their windows looking into our backyards, because they'll be on the first, second, or third floor. I don't know what the rules are, how high we can have our security fence that we all have back there, how high we can put it up. But if that man were to sell it, which I hope he never does, and a lot of us in that area feel that way because this is our backyard. I've lost my train of thought because it just we just don't want apartments there. A business is fine, that's gonna have normal hours.
Thank you.
We won't have to worry about traffic or, you know, a bunch of kids or the bikes. We've already seen that, those electric bikes zooming behind us or whatever. You know, we just want to make sure that something goes there that's, the 30 of us that live around that area are considered. Okay, and my name's Lola.
Any more public comments?
Pat McGovern, I live on Bonneville, and I just want to say I agree with all the comments, and just want to know what the go-forward plan will be. I assume it will be published on the site, that when the next meeting, and in particular the next strategy meeting, to start over.
Yeah.
Anyone else? We will close the public comment portion then, and I think that was the last on our agenda, so I think we can adjourn. Do we need a motion to adjourn, Tina, or can I just call it? I can just call it. Okay, we'll adjourn here at 1:32 p.m. Thank you.